I hear the popo.
Okay, here we go.
You want to change anyone's life along the way? Go side draw. Go side draw. Go side draw.
Change generation. Outwork everyone. Complete domination. We don't get tired. Total recreation.
That was. Thank you very much for sharing that, Ulric. No, guys, this is not an MLM scheme. It is not a Ponzi. It's us. We're back. It's the Pleb Underground Live. It is St. Patty's Day. You've got Phil, Coinicarus, Humble, and Ulric. Guys, absolutely awesome.
Hello.
You know, that video, I was just thinking, like, how close are we to that being what the Bitcoin conference is like?
Oh no.
I'm almost certain the Bitcoin conference in Vegas is you won't be able to tell the difference between whoever the heck Elliot is and Bitcoin 25. I'm just saying, I won't be there.
But in all fairness, okay, hold on. In all fairness, though, even though it's cringe, you're wearing some other dude's name on your shirt. Yeah, yeah. You know, like, even though that's cringe,
so
did it not
bad.
kind of pump you up?
I mean, you know, I have a Jordan jersey. I have a Satoshi jersey. You know, but you know, when you're, I don't know, you know, what they stand for versus what, you know, financial, you know, scheming and pyramid scamming stands for. I think it's a little different. Yeah, it's really sad. I don't think Elliot was the guy speaking, and that's what makes it super weird. But I want to see
the guy on the shirt. Yeah, I know, right? You want to see Elliot.
Like, who created this? Who created this movement?
Well, Elliot did. Elliot,
guys, don't worry. The show is not about Elliot. It's not all.
Too funny.
He did create the movement. He did, yeah, and it really. That's some scary stuff.
What's funny is I think a lot of Bitcoin influencers are trying to be like that guy. That's the sad part, you know.
Well, it's better than the Ethereum, like, you know, because they wouldn't be doing that. They'd be doing some really weird, awkward dance and song. I mean, you've seen those things with Vitalik that it's just like so cringe with purses and bunny shirts and stuff.
We have to be above that, brothers and sisters.
Yes.
We have to be stronger.
We do. Be more like Elliot, but not Elliot.
I would argue that the space is kind of turning into the Elliot space. I mean, I feel that it always had the potential, unfortunately.
It's
for
rapidly.
This,
it's going fast.
Yeah, is that its final form? I mean, is this what happens, right? We get to Bitcoin conferences and it's guys doing rah like this about how they, I mean, is that it, right? Where they change their lives with Bitcoin and this is how I did it. And these are the 5 steps you need to follow. Click the link right here. Sign up right now. Is that what's happening? Is that where we're going?
$1 trillion. Any moment, guys. Any moment.
Totally happening. It's totally happening. We're not seeing it. It's the game theory and the 5D chess that we're missing out on.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, guys, we have an awesome show. This, you know, like, we're going to talk about the SBR because yes, there are a few things that happened over the month with the SBR that may be perceived as big, maybe kind of nothing burgers. Who knows? We're going to dive into it. We're also going to take a look at what Bitcoin winning looks like, and I think that Elliot video kind of set us maybe on the path to maybe what the cringiest version of what winning looks like. Also, we're going to talk about the Fort Knox smoke and mirrors, and we're also going to talk about maybe some more esoteric type stuff, right? The fabled prophecy, right? The 84K that everybody's just so impressed with, right? We're going to talk about that too. But before we do, of course, we've got to give some love to the sponsors. So we will be back very quick. Here we go, guys. Pleb Underground is brought to you by NOHhue. Go check them out at NOHhue.com. They are building the Amazon for Bitcoiners, a one-stop shop for Bitcoin-only brands. New brands are going to be added every month, so go check them out. Don't miss what's happening at NOHhue.com. Pleb Underground is brought to you by CypherSafe. You guys all know I am a pet rock enjoyer. Love the swag, love the collectibles. This is the ultimate Bitcoin collectible. That's right, guys. We're talking 16 ounces of solid titanium, the Bitcoin Rolo Triangle. Go check it out at CypherSafe.io. We are back. That's right.
That's
You know what?
right.
Yeah, we're gonna have a new. We're actually gonna have finally a new item from CypherSafe. He's been working on this like Bitcoin clock made of solid aluminum, so I'm super excited. I'm gonna be ordering one, so I'll actually get to hold it up and show it and the whole deal. Anyways, all right, let's dive into it. Yeah, I suck. I haven't been looking at the comments. Sorry. No, we're not talking about the Elliott wave inspiring formula. We're talking about this. I guess this grifter dude named Elliott who made an MLM scheme, but it's okay. We're not really talking about him. We're going to dive into. I think we're going to dive into the SBR chat. So okay, all right. So in the month of March, okay. So in the month of March, right? The U.S. government apparently captured, right, approximately 200,000 Bitcoin, which we know that they got from seizing. Right. So there's that aspect of it. Then there's the aspect of what's his name? Byron Donalds, I believe. Byron Donalds that put forth that he wants that bill to get passed to codify, to have the SBR codified so that it can't be undone because it's done through an executive order. Okay, so that seemingly right in terms of like, all right, country adoption, we'd say, okay, fine, you know, that's a good thing, right? The country is moving in the right direction. I mean, obviously, Senator Loomis with the, you know, the the repeat of her Bitcoin. What is it? The Bitcoin bill. I gotta go and take a look at that. Is that what it's called?
The strategic Bitcoin
is it her?
reserve bill.
She's reiterating, but it's old news. Like that's not really news, right? Like this is old stuff. I'm talking about what she did. The new stuff is really the fact
Strategic
that
Bitcoin Act of 2025, 2024. Yeah, Strategic Bitcoin Act. Yeah.
Okay. So, but the real new stuff that actually happened, right, in the month of March so far is really that the U.S. has taken that seized Bitcoin for their own, right, or for our own, and we've got Byron Donalds with the codifying the strategic reserve so that it can't be undone by future administrations. Excuse me. Sorry, I don't usually drink. I apologize. Cheers, everyone, by the way. In Paddy's Day.
Pliny with the green screen.
The green screen, Glenmorangie. Well, it's like I'm actually having Glenfiddich, but Glenmorangie glass. Anyways, okay. So, okay. I know that we're supposed to think it's a good thing. I understand that I'm supposed to be happy. I get the whole Bitcoin strategic reserve. I get that winning doesn't always entail the exact things that each of us individually want, right? Like there's going to be aspects of it that we don't really give a shit for, right? For me, this is one of those things I don't give a shit for. But I don't I kind of don't like that they just took over the Bitcoin that they seized. Like I feel like that's just fair game, but I feel it's cheap.
Well, I think, you know, here's the catch with that one is that she kind of went back in July when she was chirping about Bitcoin, she was talking about buying a million coins. And I'm like, there's no way that any taxpayer is going to think that this is a good idea. There's no way that half of Congress, if not more than half of Congress, is going to think that this is a good idea. It essentially boils down to gambling. And I know that we Bitcoiners don't think Bitcoin is gambling, but it's a speculative move thinking that they're going to accrete value by putting this money away in some sort of savings or storage strategy. But the catch is like her hyping this million token narrative up. She was using it to pull in support, but by December, she was speaking and she was singing a new tune. She was talking about in December. She was literally talking about taking the Bitcoin that they already had and converting it into a strategic reserve. She also mentioned potentially selling some of the gold to buy Bitcoin. And I talked about this in one of my videos on the Pleb Underground. It was released in January, the first one of the year. But the catch is that the whole goal of this administration, at least at the front end, is to show that they are being efficient and to show that they're saving the taxpayer money. Now, I think that this is a deep down problem that we have with the Bitcoiners and their affinity towards the nation state, is that we're cheering them on to buy Bitcoin. We're cheering the whether it's Canada or the United States to buy Bitcoin, but for what? It's like, what does that have to do with your bags? Like, as much gold as they have, how has that improved your life? Yeah, you probably
NGU. Right. The argument is NGU, right? The argument is always NGU.
Right.
Right.
It's like
people, yeah.
Yeah, they want Bitcoin. They want the government to pump their bags, so essentially they can dump on the government. I get it, I understand, but the government also understands that as well, and so they're looking for opportunities to acquire Bitcoin without essentially giving you that free accretion that you think you're going to get. And so, guess what? They've confiscated money from criminals and illicit activity for Mount Gox, whatever. They're sitting on 200,000 still after they've sold 50,000. Okay, that's their money. It's in the U.S. Marshals. Why should they give that up? And why should they promise you to pump your bags? Essentially, without belaboring anymore, I've been saying this for months, but it's a matter of stay humble and stack sats. And the government you should not look for the government to make you rich. It's a very bad formula for thinking that it's a bad formula for trying to get ahead in life. Like, do better and stop expecting that. But Humble, go ahead. I'm sorry, I was going for a while.
No, not at all. Go ahead, Humble.
Sorry, I was just responding to somebody in the chat.
That's all good.
I don't really have much to add to that.
That's alive, you know?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm just like, oh, hi. Look. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what about this? Look at what Inspiring Formula said, right? SBR potential great rug pull opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? The accelerationism angle. And exactly, like, I can't disagree with that.
I mean, it'll be interesting because, moving forward, any that they confiscate, they just, like, how much more Bitcoin are they going to be confiscating, right? It's interesting a journey there.
Did you see the tweet where there's it's a meme? Well, essentially it's Trump on the left and what is it, Xi Jinping or whatever, the Chinese premier or the prime minister, whatever they call them over there. And they show the number of Bitcoin, right? So the US has like 198K Bitcoin and China has 190K Bitcoin, and like, essentially pretending that, this race is on, so to speak, right? Going back to this point from Inspiring Formulas about the accelerationism angle, this kind of goes back to the whole thing about them, about Bitcoin being this pristine monetary anchor, which I've been going on about, and that essentially the governments are going to use it to try to print more and more. So to that respect, I do see the accelerationism angle of it, but I think the issue that I have with it is this, right? We're cheering this, like, not us necessarily, but, a certain subsect of Bitcoiners is cheering this, this government adoption because of NGU. Is going to bring the real big adoption, because to a certain extent, right, it's fantastic that we can store value. We already know that we can do that. But at the same time, people actually do want to be able to use Bitcoin, and I know that storing value is using Bitcoin, but I'm talking about having more use cases than that, right? Actually being able to spend it. I'm not talking about a whole bunch of fucking shitcoining nonsense necessarily. I know that people want to do that. I'm just simply talking about the parallel economy. Like, I genuinely would love to be able to, for high priced items, I would love to be able to go and use my Bitcoin right at the Honda dealership or a Lexus dealership. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, but like, not all your corn has to go to the future. Not all of it. Some of it you can do some nice things with. So I just think that like we don't necessarily get there with this particular narrative that is being spun right now, and the SBR is part of that, right? I think to a certain extent, they're kind of pushing the pet rock, which me, I'm a pet rock enjoyer. Even said it in the ad, but still, it doesn't mean I want everything to be pet rocks.
That's right. Hey, before we continue, I just want to be. It is St. Patrick's Day. People have drinks. I want to give a toast to all our loyal fans, all our loyal fellow plebs that are watching us and supporting us. Make sure you hit that like button and raise your drink to the Pleb Underground and to Bitcoiners out there everywhere. Cheers.
For sure.
I don't know how ideal drinking beer on YouTube is, but I'm like,
well, our show's 18 plus anyway, so don't worry.
That's right.
I don't mark any of our stuff like kid friendly or any of that.
That's
stuff.
right.
Yeah, because I know the topics are going to go all over the place. Like that would be horrible.
Very well.
Family friendly, we are not.
No.
So we're also not totally detrimental, but like it's not something I'd want to necessarily want a kid talking about like necessarily destroying the state. Like kids have there's a certain amount of innocence, and like that innocence deserves to be preserved because the world. Right. You got time. You got time to learn that the world's going to screw you.
And I think it's and the Tuttle Twins teaches them about it, right? And then
in a safe way.
Yes, that's very good. I really like it. I learn a lot from that actually, so it's wonderful.
Yeah, I've even interviewed the guy who put together the Tuttle Twins, and he was a gracious host, and it was a gracious guest, I should say, and it was like. Just the whole process of getting it through Angel Studios. He broke that down. I met him at the Pacific Bitcoin 22 or 23, but it was a privilege to shake his hand and to get him on TV on the show with Coinbase. And he was very gracious and very patient. Really like him.
He is a humble guy. He is. Oh man, he is such a nice guy. I met him last year at the. Actually at Anders' party. Yeah, very, very nice guy.
Yeah,
there's a few Bitcoiners that are making content specifically, specifically for children, like Bitcoin for Kiddos as well.
There's a board game as well. There's a board
Yeah.
game. I forget what it was called. There may have been a couple of board games, but I think bringing this type of thing to children, essentially getting ahead of the indoctrination mechanism that's our modern day public education and private for that matter. When you look at, we all went to high school around the same time. We never learned what money is.
Nope.
We never, we were censored for that. That was for other people. And it's funny because like there's a lot of people that maybe their dads or their parents are involved in finance, and they have, no matter what they learned in high school, they were going to go down this path. It was made for them. So we're closer to a caste system than a lot of people would believe. Of course, the doors are open to shift. It's not like you're absolutely closed off, but it's a soft caste system, and they segment the information that we're supposed to learn. And I think that they're very brilliant, what would I say, pioneers. They're creating content for children so when they learn about this stuff, whenever it is, it's not terribly shocking.
What grade did you do economics in?
12th. I have to say 12th or 11th. Yeah.
Yeah, so for us in Canada, we do.
I say Canada.
Canada. We do it in grade 8, and then we do it again in grade 10. But the essentially, right, like in grade 10, right, at that age, you have a pretty good perception of like how money begins to work, right? At that point, like you're indoctrinated into all the brands, and you have an idea of what the mainstream media is selling you as like a wealthy person and stuff like that. So it's just kind of funny because I remember in grade 10 what they had us do, like our big exposure to the the world of investing, okay, was you pick what was it? They give you like, I don't know if it was $10,000 or $1,000. It all has to do with inflation, but you have like 30 days, right? And you got to pick a certain amount of stocks or something. And at the end of the 30 days, there's a winner to this whole competition. But we learned absolutely nothing. right? And that was the point. That was the whole point, which is interesting, right? Because you have a grade 10 economics teacher essentially telling you that like stocks is just like gambling for sophisticated people, which I can understand that perception, right? But you can see that he didn't do very well, maybe. That was the plan. He wanted to teach everybody to stay away from it. But yeah, man, they just teach you to be a cog in the wheel. Like, listen, you're just going to grow up and do what every single other person has done because that's the way it works. So yeah,
and you outsource that decision to
interesting.
people who really don't know either, and they're essentially paid professionally to give you 3% while they're taking a small fee. And they're not giving you the insider deals. You know, it's like I talk to my boss at work all the time, and he talks about his, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I have my retirement, then I have this other bucket of money, I give it to Vanguard, and you know, I got 3% last year. I'm like you got 3% last year, and we're talking like 2024, you know, when things are supposed to be going up, like everything was going up and he got 3%. What does that say about his investments? You know, it's like, dude, you lost money. Like, you may want to reconsider where you're putting that value. And it doesn't take that long to realize when you're looking at Bitcoin that this whole entire system is designed to keep the workers poor and to give all the gains to the financial class. Like, I mean, they'll take that, they'll make sure you get your 3%, and meanwhile they're investing in Bitcoin and getting all of their gains. It's really sad, and people are numb to it.
That's a very good point. Let's see here. Do we dare move on to the what does Bitcoin winning look like, or do we still want to go on the path of Bitcoin education?
What are we talking about? What does Bitcoin winning look like? What tweet is that in relation to? Oh, BitPain.
Yeah, that is a BitPain tweet here. Let me see if I can.
It's more of the SBR.
Let me see if I can pull this one up. Yeah, it's more of the SBR stuff.
Yeah. You're gonna pull that one up?
Yeah.
I guess it's a counterpoint to. Yeah.
It's good.
Sorry.
No, okay.
I'm like not signed into any of my stuff, and then my browser window is on like the wrong screen. So like I'm totally like I'm moving things around while I'm trying to stay on this screen.
You're doing
you can
great.
see I'm not even signed in, and it's like it's all.
So it's like, you know, BitPain.
Anyways, okay. So yeah, what was going on here with BitPain? What was he crying about? A certain class of perpetual cuck Bitcoiner who never. Oh, that's right. Okay. So hold on a second. So what he was crying about, okay, was that essentially, you know, for those of us that like aren't like fucking cheerleaders for all of this state adoption and stuff, that like, you know, we don't, you know, you don't know what winning looks like, and I'm not taking offense for this myself, because I understand that there's, you know, nuance to all of this, and it's not just going to be exactly what I want, because that's fucking psychotic and weird. But it's just funny to like paint that, you know, to paint that narrative, right? Like you're not the only one that's allowed to bitch about stuff, you know, like everybody's allowed to bitch about stuff. Like, so it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just kind of ironic. Like, yeah, this is what Bitcoin's going to look like. Like, there's going to be a whole bunch of really cringy crap that like you don't necessarily agree with, that's going to go on. Some people would even argue this show, and they're like, no, I don't want this going on, you know, like, but guess what? Here we are. Too bad.
You know, it's funny because it's like, I see, you know, oh, we should be celebrating the SBR. We should be celebrating the SBR. At the end of the day, I mean, we all got into Bitcoin to be better off than what we were in the past. And maybe it's for sovereignty, maybe it's for a little bit better net worth, whatever it may be. But I'll tell you this, them saying we like Bitcoin didn't affect my net worth at all in the moment. Not a bit. If anything, it went down. And so I'll celebrate when I start seeing them have 210,000 Bitcoin, they have 220, and all of a sudden they have 250. But until they're pumping my bags, I really don't care who announces that they like Bitcoin. Think about all the people in the past. Michael Dell, like scarcity is value.
Mr. 100, right?
Yeah, he was Mr. 100. So
where did he go?
Was it? Yeah, it's like all these people, like, they're not pumping my bag, so I don't need to celebrate them. I don't need to be excited about them until it fixes my problem, which is I either want a new house, I either want a new wrap on my car, whatever it may be. Me just hearing Trump say that he likes Bitcoin, he signed a strategic reserve bill. We're all about bottom lines, right? We're all in finance. We're talking to all these traders, these accountants, and all these bigwig macro people. Aren't they all about the bottom line? Where's my bottom line? So no reason to celebrate.
So you know what? As you're going on about this, so here we've got Phil C that says BTC has helped me become a better person, right? And then you've got inspiring formulas right below. It says BTC hasn't changed.
But yeah, Bitcoin has helped me.
Right?
But has the SBR helped you become a better person? And I would say no, it really hasn't.
Right.
But this is
I'm all for Bitcoin and improving us individually and understanding what truth, mathematical truth is. But we're talking about the SBR here. Trump. I finished my.
Go ahead, Humble. We keep cutting you off. Just tell us to shut up.
No. It's
mute the room.
Seriously, I'll lose.
Go, Humble. Go.
Yeah, mute the room. I mean, let's be real. It's like the idea that there's a fear that when the government gets involved in any way, shape, or form, that some sort of manipulation or control can occur. And without understanding everything, and without, and I mean, that's a fear. It's like, this was created because we don't want, well, it wasn't created because obviously we know why it was created, but I guess the idea in a lot of people's minds after having some of the issues that brought them to Bitcoin is that they don't want the government involved. So it makes sense. So, I mean, I see where he's saying, these people are losers and what have you, but that's not entirely true. There are some people that are just like, well, it kind of makes sense to have something outside of the system, something that's for the people, by the people. And that's what I think is very intriguing about it. So where does this go? I mean, we've had conversations about the like mining, when BlackRock got involved, and the contract that they had out there when they were talking about a fork, right? And what does that look like? So there are legitimate concerns. It's not just like people are set in their ways. It's like, well, wait a minute, what's going to happen now? There's like, it's slowly but suddenly the government is involved. Like what's going on? So yeah, is it a good thing? Who knows? For adoption, yeah. For legitimacy, sure. You can have conversations with people that and be like, see, the cucked people we have in our families, just be like, look, the government likes it. Look at all these, but now it's turning into a left and right thing because, but we don't have to go there though. Don't get me started on that. So anyways, yeah.
No politics. Yeah. We're trying to stay out of politics, even though I used to say that Bitcoin is apolitical money. And then like, I realized that it's like actually very like political because people use it. And I was like, damn, I'm like, that didn't age well. Yeah.
That was a cute narrative, but I would say that all things are.
That was a cute narrative.
Yeah, I was like, when I first came in, I remember that was the really harping like narrative. It's like apolitical, but like everything is by definition like political. Like a tool. Oh, it's just a tool. Well, a gun is a tool, and some people don't want you to have that tool, and some people do. And so the question is, what people want you to have that tool, what people don't care, and what people like that tool with you. And we have to, and everyone aligns with a certain group of how we view the world. And so, it looks like the group right now at least likes it a little bit, but also likes other things. And, enemy of my enemy is my friend, or at least stay out of my way while I'm doing things, one or another.
Well, I just want to go back to essentially to Humble's point about it being like, is this a good thing or a bad thing, right? About the, the government, and to your point about the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like, so the same way that like Bitcoin Cash, so I forget who it was, but somebody once said that Craig Wright was the enemy that Bitcoin deserved. Essentially like meaning that like Bitcoin needs to have these, it kind of reminds me of like the hero's journey, but like, it's like Bitcoin needs to have these challenges in order for Bitcoin to become its final form, so to speak, right? So So the same way that like Bitcoin overcame the right, exactly right, the Elliot, you know, like it's becoming that kind of an episode though. It's fucking weird, but like essentially, you know, the oh damn, yeah, I totally forgot where I was
I'm
going
sorry,
with
I
this,
went Super Saiyan and blew your.
yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's I'm also brain dead because I'm not used to drinking. But
This
yeah,
is
so
crazy.
anyways, so like the Bcash forks, right? Like so we had the Bcash fork and you know, like we all know what happened there. Like history's right there. I mean, that
Right.
didn't work. That attack on Bitcoin, all those corporations, all that money didn't work. And then what happened then, right? So then you've got like Craig Wright, who obviously realized he had to go off and do his own thing, and then BSV was just a fork of BCH. So I don't even consider that. But is it at all possible that that's what one of the other, you know, one of the other final masters is, right? Like essentially the government attempting to use Bitcoin as the pristine monetary anchor that it is, right? Attempts to do whatever shenanigans they do, right? Printing their way out of debt, which I don't really understand how that works. But anyways, like maybe that's all part of the story, right? Like that's just it's just part of the story.
But it's like the never-ending story, you know, because I mean, now then you
It'll
have
be the never-ending.
nation state adoption, you know, so it's like, oh, the United States is doing this, so then we need to do this, and so everyone's then competing to get. I mean, they're all well not competing to get Bitcoin, but they all want to get Bitcoin, you know, and so like it's interesting. Like there's so many different things you have to kind of pay attention to and try to understand with absolutely no clarity because nothing like this has ever happened before. And so I think that's, you know, kind of the scary part for those of us that are just like, but the government's involved now. What's going to happen? You know?
I think it'll take multiple generations for Bitcoin to be as a commonplace enough for it to truly replace how people do economics. And we're not talking about nation states or big businesses. I think that they would potentially pick it up faster and as they deem necessary. I think that if Russia wants to do trade with someone that's not necessary, that's not BRICS and not, you know, SWIFT, there's your opportunity, you know. But for a regular person who's going to work and getting paid and not paying attention to economics, there's going to be a whole generation of people, and the next generation will not learn about economics in the way that we're learning on our own. Yet still Bitcoin is just always there. There's going to be the adoption of information, of understanding, is going to expedite, and it will go slower than the price. The price is going to go up because all the businesses, all the governments are going to have their share. But there will always be some Bitcoin out there for people to acquire. And once they realize the use case, they're going to say, wow, I need to get myself a little bit of this because this is the gold that my great grandparents thought they needed it. Thought they needed. I need to bury this on my computer. I need to bury this on my signing device. I need to lock this down because it could be big one day. And they're going to say it could be big one day when Bitcoin's already 600, 800,000, $1 million, $2 million. And this is the kind of stuff where it's fiat is so massive. It will take Bitcoin multiple millions and in multiple hands, millions, billions of people's hands before it's really like, okay, the fiat game's over. So we're just getting started. And that's the crazy part about it. Like
That's bullish.
It really, yeah, we really don't have like that ceiling. I'm not saying we won't even have to, in my opinion, we won't even have to see 100 million, 200 million. It's going to shut down the fiat game way before that, in my opinion. But it has to be in the hands of the people. And that's why our podcast exists. That's why the work out in Latin America exists, in Europe. You know, this SBR thing. Yeah, okay, the government adopts it. But as long as they lock it behind their digital Fort Knox, as Rachel Maddow says, they can continue this Ponzi. But the more people who run nodes, who spend in Bitcoin, who save in Bitcoin, the faster we blow up this fiat experiment.
Bullish. I like that. Okay, we've got this question here from Phil. See, we actually have a few comments here we're going to go through in the chat. But so Phil is saying, will the IMF be the final boss for BTC? I have mixed thoughts about that, because I think part of it is yes, but then part of me also thinks that the IMF is just like a smaller representation of, like, bigger central bankers, right? Like, who gave the IMF the authority to come together, right? Like, who gave them the green light to come together and produce? Because and again, I could be totally wrong in this perception, but they're allowed to create money out of nothing. Okay, like essentially that's what it is. That's what an SDR is, right? Like somebody essentially gives them, they are given the authority to create this money out of nothing that they call an SDR, special drawing rights, I believe they are, and essentially they're supposedly based on a whole basket of commodities and all this, whatever story they want to tell people. But really, at the end of the day, it's money out of nothing. So, do I think the IMF is the final boss? To a certain extent, I think the IMF is like, it's one of those things where when the IMF caves to Bitcoin, like that's definitely like part of like we've won phase.
So
I do think so.
So I'm wondering, Phil, if you're specifically, so this is Phil C, if you're specifically talking about the Max Kaiser tweets, because I saw those earlier today. And Phil, Pleb Underground Phil, did you see those tweets today that Max Kaiser put out?
No, I did not.
So if you,
I don't.
Yeah, I know.
We don't play in that
world. I can't.
Yeah,
I think he's so. I
don't have him blocked. I can't.
I'm surprised he hasn't blocked me.
Twisted towards El Salvador, though.
But I'll check them out. I'll check them.
What? No, it is. But it was about the IMF. So I mean, I'm not sure if that's maybe why Phil is the other.
No,
Phil.
he said he has.
Okay.
So there were two tweets. They back to back. Okay, so both 6 hours ago. So the IMF has forbid the U.S. from doing BIT bonds, citing the destabilizing influence of Bitcoin on the U.S. economy. The next tweet was the IMF and various credit rating agencies are lowering the U.S. credit rating, citing the destabilizing influence of Bitcoin. They recommend the U.S. to immediately liquidate their BSR, Bitcoin Strategic Reserve.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is mind-blowing. I should have been paying more attention today. I felt like today was such a dead day. That is hilarious.
Yes.
So they're actually afraid of I got to go back and check, but I actually think the U.S. doesn't even have an outstanding loan with the IMF. So I really have no idea what the hell the IMF is talking. Like, you have no leg to stand on here, for real. In this particular case, like, you'd think with all the money printing, we'd owe somebody something, right? But you actually don't know the IMF shit. The IMF actually owes the U.S. a lot, to be honest. We really start getting into it, but
political posture. They're just anti.
Yeah,
they hate Trump. They're probably owned by the Clintons, and it's like, let's attack him. Soros and the Clintons obviously don't like this because it's money, and Trump is like, yeah, we like Bitcoin, we like Ethereum, we like anything that makes people money, that's fine. And so I just feel like the IMF says, no, we want control. I'm sure the ECB is perfectly happy with the IMF message to the United States. And it's not even to the United States. It's really to the Trump administration. So it's just political jockeying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trump has 4 years to do what he wants. And, hopefully we don't get an authoritarian president in 4 years.
Correct. So again, that was Max Kaiser that had tweeted those out about 6 hours ago. I did, guys. I put that in the private chat. I'm not able to put it in the other chat.
I just do it. Oh yeah, you probably can't put
links.
Sorry, I'm so not used to this yet. So I'm like going back and forth. I'm watching the chat. I'm sorry.
We're gonna have to put that in. Maybe put it in the show notes. Update the show notes.
I will add it. Yeah, exactly.
That like a good one though.
Yeah.
That is a good one. I did want to. I don't want to switch topics necessarily away from this, but somebody is asking about this, and I don't know if you guys had heard about this. The Ledger finding the security breach on the CypherSafe wallets. Saul asked this a little while back. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Noises. I know what's
going
on?
It's this Dawn. What is it? This account. There's this. Don John Ledger or something like that. Anyways, it's like the security arm of Ledger, and I got to go back and take a look at the exact details of of the hack, but they claimed that they were able to compromise the Trezor, and I just got to go back and take a look at it, because a lot of times, and I do appreciate the lengths that these guys go to, but the reality is that like a lot of times, like pretty much like I want to say 10 out of 10, but I'm sure there's some scenario I'm not thinking of. So I'm trying to account for the black swan scenario. But like somebody needs to have physical access to your device, number one. And then number two, they need to be incredibly technically savvy, or at least have access to the resources which would allow them to appear technically savvy in order to be able to compromise your device in these different ways. So I don't like, I'm not saying these things are nothing burgers. They are not, because under the correct conditions, right, like any type of hack is valid. You just have to have the proper conditions for these things. But yeah, I got to go back and review how it's actually done. I think it's like a supply chain attack, but I got to go back and take a look. But yeah, these things are pretty scary, right? Like when you see these going out, when you see these things happening at, Bitcoin going up at these quote unquote, prices, it really starts to make you think of your security, your, like hardware wallet setup, are you using multi-sig? Do you even remember how to use your multi-sig? Right, there's years. Oh, did I just lose all of you?
You lost us for about 3 seconds. You're good.
Damn it. Yeah, I don't know why. That's so strange. And I'm using a wired connection.
Wired
There's
connection.
no excuse.
Yeah. It's just one of them days. Uh-oh, he's freezing. We may have to.
Yeah, it's happening. I don't know why that's happening. Anyways.
Gosh.
Yeah. No, I see you guys back now. I see you guys back.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, yeah, we're all back. Sorry, everyone. Anyways, so yeah, so people are talking about their particular security, right? Like whether going back to that whole point about multi-sig, it's actually you set this stuff up like a few years ago, and then you don't look at it. That's not good either, right? Like. So there's this interesting balance between the difficulty of an attacker getting to your physical devices and getting your seed and everything like that, and you being able to get to your own Bitcoin, right? So you have to imagine that the ease of which you can get to your Bitcoin is essentially the ease of which an attacker can get to your cold storage as well. But the thing is that if you never actually practice and like go and like log into your setup, so to speak, or in some cases, update the firmware on your devices and whatnot, or in some cases, consolidate transactions, whatever it is, you get unfamiliar with the whole process of it. And I think that's dangerous too. So just some food for thought on this.
Are we going to talk about what Kevin O'Leary said?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get to Kevin. I just wanted to address all.
I just figured,
yeah, no, because I
O'Leary keep on an exchange. Maybe we should talk about that. Anyways,
yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about Kevin O'Leary and his what was that? What did he, as they call it, decentralized wallets? Who's they?
Yeah,
who are these they?
Yeah, another.
I didn't see that one either.
No,
you didn't see the little interview with him?
Mm-mm.
It's embarrassing.
Trump over at the place in New York. What is it called?
What? Mr. Wonderful.
No. The pub. The pub in New
York.
The
pub where he bought the McDonald's or something where he paid for Bitcoin. President.
You're talking about PubKey.
PubKey. Yes. Yes. Because Trump had an interview.
Where Mike Germano is now like a partner with after he quit Bitcoin Magazine.
Oh, that's exciting! I didn't know that. How fun!
He just quit Bitcoin Magazine as president of Bitcoin Magazine last week, and now he's some sort of like managing director at PubKey, something like that. It's kind of a big Bitcoin celebrity moving on to hopefully bigger and better things. I guess he's always been nice to me, so I wish him well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you see the hot dog?
Somebody asked if we're Bitcoin maxis. We are indeed Bitcoin maxis, yes. So,
is this person new? Oh, that's so fun.
I don't know, but
Ben
Hoofty, I did shitcoin for a very long time. I'm a person who got wrecked in shitcoining in 2017, 2018, and I learned why Bitcoin only. So yes.
We're just not.
This is definitely a Bitcoin only channel. That's my story.
We're not wearing our Bitcoin maxi pins this evening.
I am. I've got it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
Peter McCormack made fun of all of us.
I mean, it's kind of
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the green might be something else.
I'm a Tron OG, whatever that means.
Oh God, you got what? You got wrecked with Tron?
What?
No, I actually didn't. No.
I was gonna say I got a bunch of free Tron too. Don't feel bad.
No, I didn't actually get wrecked.
Oh, okay, I did.
Did very well.
Not get wrecked. Me too. Me too. I got a bunch of free Tron.
That's great.
I did very well with that shitcoin, but still.
So I'm actually the only maxi left. Okay, so some people you did well at all. You got wrecked
early.
You got wrecked.
Yeah. Okay, so look, check this out. Look, Van is very lucky. Okay, because most of us, I mean, not most of us, because I do know some maxis who have never touched shitcoins at all. But look at this, his first cycle, and he's learned to Bitcoins the way. Very good. Yes, if you're lucky, it only takes one cycle. If you're super fortunate and you just get it, like I know of some Bitcoiners like Stony. Stony will tell you, like he'll be like, nope, never fell for that shit, not even for a second. And it's I gotta give him props for that. Because it's like, yeah, I came to Bitcoin for Bitcoin, but then I totally fell for the narrative of like, well, there's this other stuff and I can get more Bitcoin if I waste my time with this other stuff. Anyways, we're not getting into that. We're going back to making fun of Mr. Not So Wonderful. Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
Man.
So many same war stories over and over again. But yeah, he's pretty embarrassing, and I hate that he gets platformed. Yeah. I truly do. And I know I shouldn't care. Yeah. And I mean, deeply, I don't care, but like outwardly, I care.
I
don't know what that means, but
Sam Bankman-Fried, I mean, like he was like one of the people that was like, oh, I feel sorry for this guy,
Fuck
just
this
like,
guy.
no, what's wrong with you? And he had a crowdfunding site, what's even going on with this crowdfunding? I don't know. The guy, oh.
So check this out, right? He claims that he never that he lost money with FTX, okay? But the devil's like in the devil's in the details, right? Because like his contract was like $18 million, of which what was it? Like I think it was like 1 million of it was paid, because I went down this whole rabbit hole because I wanted to do a clip about this schmuck. But like he got paid like it was like 1 million or 2 million of FTX stock and like 10 million worth of tokens, right? So motherfucker, you still got $8 million for shilling people absolute trash. Got people wrecked. Like, I mean, I get it, right? Like it's just,
O'Leary was. Am I missing? Was I drinking?
Idiots, but $8 million.
Was O'Leary the one with Luna?
No, he was FTX. He was shilling FTX.
Who was the one that got the Luna? That's Nova.
Oh no, that's Novogratz. That's Novogratz.
Yeah. Never mind. Okay, continue.
No, he's long gone.
Yeah, good.
we just laugh.
Oh man, what a cycle.
So far it's been a pretty crazy cycle. But yeah, it's pathetic that these people are given. And you know what? Something I actually found extremely disappointing was that I saw some bigger Bitcoin accounts that were like retweeting this conversation, this fucking nonsense conversation. Kevin O'Leary talking about the decentralized wallets, and being like, yeah, good job, way to go, Bitcoin. Like,
what's a decentralized wallet?
Whatever Kevin O'Leary says, as they call it. Whoever, I'm going into a loop here. I'm gonna crash. Like, whatever they is, dude.
Well, it certainly wasn't take it off the exchange. It's really important that you have a signing device to capture your Bitcoin. It was more like, hey, maybe Kevin O'Leary's going to be, aligning with an exchange here shortly, and this is his way to start propping that up. So yeah, I don't know. It was I think the guys. Okay, say what was it? Why am I? See, this is what I told you about, Phil. Like earlier, like my mind is just, it's like that time. I can't like put these thoughts together. What is the name of the restaurant or the pub again?
Pubkey.
Okay. Yeah, see. These guys are gonna be like, what the fuck? You like commented on this.
It's normally not like this.
Yeah, no, the position of
it's fucking St. Paddy's Day. It's all good. We're good.
I mean, this is like, it is.
We have the excuse.
It's my second tequila. So Pubkey can understand this. See, well, yeah, yes, and it's just tequila, guys. It's tequila and lime.
Damn.
I should have more too, but I know it's a bad idea.
Yeah, no, TC actually turned me on
One
to
pint
this.
for me.
Said, you know what, it's really great if you just have tequila and lime and muddle it up. And I've done that with some different salts in there. Anyways, yep, nice. It just blends in quite nicely. Like it's like almost transparent.
Okay, hold on a second.
So-
Hold on. Okay, we got to switch gears here because Van Hoofy's talking about he's got to unload some shit coins. He's got to.
Yeah, you thought he just came in with the cycle, but he's actually
Look, he's still thinking he's getting alt season. My dude, they've been waiting for alt season since 2018. Like, you know that meme of the skeleton at the bottom of the ocean? That is fucking alt season. Okay, I'm serious. And I've probably made that meme, that actual meme. So seriously, lots of people wait for it. All it is pump and dump schemes. Do not waste your time. It is, listen, when I first started buying shit coins, there was 1,700. Okay, I want you to picture that. You were able to get through all of them in a day. Like easily figure out which were the total crap and which ones were the ones that could pump. 1,700. We're at over like 2 million. I want you to think about that, man. Don't do it. I'm telling you. I know you're saying, bro, watch and see, but I'm telling you, watch and see.
Yeah, the likelihood.
Like I've been fucking doing this
and
for
the-
like long enough, man.
And here's the catch: some of them will pump. The
It's not worth it.
likelihood.
Just stack Bitcoin.
Well,
The
we have
likely-
time though. We have
But good luck to him. But good luck to him, though. Totally good luck to him. I like everybody, right? Like, listen, you know, you gotta do you. You know, stick with your conviction. Like, if part of your story and part of your journey is to get wrecked and learn from it, so be it. And if it's not, then so be it too. But just
The likelihood that someone would be able to find an ideal altcoin in 2017 is astronomically more likely than what you have right now. And that's what it boils down to. So the alt season is not even going to be an alt season. It's going to be a season for those 2 or 3 or 5 altcoins that you probably don't have. So, and they're all riding the coattails of Bitcoin. And when you look at the coin dominance, Bitcoin has been going up. Now it's 60%. 60% of all of crypto is tied to Bitcoin in terms of market cap. The rest of the 40 is divided into those 2 million altcoins. And guess what? A large percentage of them are just stable coins. So like when you think about that, how much of that market cap, how much of that value that the market is seeing is actually in those cryptos? It's not much. So good luck, but you'd have a better chance of playing some blackjack.
I'm hoping Bitcoin Core Dev, if he's still here, chimes in on this subject.
yeah, we'd appreciate that. I just want to point out here, Inspiring Formulas shaming us into compliance. Right? Conversation officially infiltrated. I can't disagree with him, right? Because this is what always happens. These people come in, you know, and like let's just throw that in. It's like, no, it's triggering. Don't do it.
I think it's
awful.
actually good to have that. I think this is the first time we've had this on Pleb
Live,
Underground Live. Like
Yeah.
Normally that's the spaces, and I know you guys have your Good Morning Bitcoin and some random.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Save that story.
We
for
don't do
another
that anymore.
time.
We don't talk about that, Ulric.
Yes, sir.
Don't talk about
I'm
that
always
show.
behind.
Okay?
Behind on things. My goodness. Good Lord.
My bad.
James,
But it's like
James.
I think these kind of things are good, and I think it's telling of like where people are exploring, you know, the narratives that we're trying to share, and that we've been there, we've done that, and it's important to rehearse that, even if it's so one person can hear it. And while you know, Floofin is talking about, you know, his cryptos. Like maybe someone else is listening and they have, you know, they have that same disposition. They're listening to our story. Look, we don't do this because we're getting paid a bunch. You know, we're doing this because we're trying to move the needle just a very little bit to whatever hyper Bitcoinization is. We want Bitcoin to thrive in the hands of the people. And if that means getting into these conversations once in a while, that's what we're here for. So it's okay.
No, that's true. It's a very good point. But
no, you didn't
go
cross
on,
the
Humble.
line.
Go ahead, Humble.
No, we have a couple years because and for those who are not in the chat who don't know, the name is Verhoofdy Floofin.
It's a funny name.
Oh, okay. Why these people?
I know you're like Van Hoof. Who knows?
I'm like, who? What did I call him? Van?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Vaughn.
I think I called him Van. I don't know. Sorry.
Dutch or German, I'm not really sure. Yeah, so Verhoofdy, I think we have a couple years because he said in the bear market in 2026 he was going to go crazy with alt. So we have a couple years to work on him. You should let us know who you are on X and join our spaces there.
At least he doesn't think a super cycle is coming, so that's good.
Right. Oh, I just love the name. Yeah, what a fun name.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Great.
All right, I like it. Well, look, good luck with your stuff and things. But yeah, we're definitely. What were we talking about before the shitcoining? I feel like we were going somewhere. We had something good.
Max Kaiser was the last I
No,
read.
that was
Oh no, we
way
were talking about Kevin O'Leary. We were talking about that.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. All right. So do we have anything left on that, or do we want to move on to the? I think we've got. What do we got? Well, wow, we're already at. Damn. Okay, I didn't even realize.
time is flying.
Yeah, time is flying. I thought we had like 20 minutes left. Do we want to talk about the Fort Knox stuff then? Fuck Kevin O'Leary. It's not even that wonderful, anyways.
That's right.
I mean,
it's wonderful to be done talking about him, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is wonderful. All right, moving on. Okay, so the Fort Knox stuff, right? So let's. What do we got? Supposedly, what was it? All of a sudden, right? At least on X, you got a whole bunch of people that were, questioning whether there's gold in Fort Knox. Like all of a sudden, this fucking matters, right? Like the money comes out of thin air. It's nothing but a ridiculous dance between the Treasury and the Fed Reserve, where they sit there and they circle jerk, and poof, money appears, and all of a sudden we're going to pretend that the gold in Fort Knox matters. But people were taking this seriously. And if you go and look this up, it's kind of interesting, right? Because there supposedly is gold in Fort Knox, but the problem is that they're never really sure how much gold there is. So that's number one, kind of weird. Number two, it was audited obviously several years ago, which also begs the question: is gold really moving in and out of Fort Knox that quickly that it needs to be audited that often? Is that really?
It was a partial audit, and it was like in the 70s. I mean, I think it was like in the late 70s or early 80s.
I mean, is anybody buying this? Like, this kind of sounds like a nothing burger, like.
Well, I think Lawrence Lepard posted something recently where he doesn't.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't. Hold on.
There was something that I see. I sent it over. Let's see. There were some very ancient-looking documents. Yeah, that.
I saw that.
Referencing, yes.
Right.
Okay. All right, hold on a second. Hold on. I'm gonna
like
pull
where
this up
where the gold was
viewers.
being moved to London somewhere to be sold or something like that.
To London, like it was moved out of Fort Knox to London. Yes.
All right, let me know if you guys can see this, because is that working?
See if you can zoom in a little bit. See if you can control mouse wheel. There you go.
I'm old. Yeah, but
so, you're in the gamer generation.
But still, like what do I got to do? Like a shift roll?
Yeah, control roll
wheel,
yeah,
control roll.
You responded quite quickly, Phil. So I'm impressed. That's good.
Not bad. It's not bad, but still, it sucks. It sucks. This view. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's very crappy. It's ultra crappy.
There you go. Look at that.
And then if you use control with this thing in the picture, it really doesn't show well. All right, guys, deal with it. All right, so as a clarification, what does he explain? Was taken out of Fort Knox. Okay, here we go. High purity gold was taken out of Fort Knox in late 1967 and early 1968 and flown from the U.S. on U.S. Air Force C-130s to RAF Mildenhall in England, convoyed down to a Bank of England bullion office vaults in the city of London, and the gold bars were withdrawn to the markets, a cartel of English and French banks, and then they closed down the London gold pool on the 15th of March 1968 as they had heisted all the good delivery gold out of Fort Knox. So
prior to 1971,
good gold, bad gold, high purity. So obviously, right, they're talking about like something that's like, well, what is that again with the gold purity? Like there's always like that stamp of like the 99 point something or whatever on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So or is sometimes there's also like this other certificate LBM something. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's like this special qualification for gold that indicates its purity. LBM. I gotta look this up.
We got to bring Alex Stanchik on the show.
No, we don't. LBMA. That's right. Google can replace him. Okay. London Bullion Market Association, the LBMA, Global Authority for Precious Metals.
Lawrence tweet.
Replaced.
Huh?
Okay.
God. Lawrence is a gold bug.
That's how you fix that shit.
Lord.
Anyways,
I mean, I think the chat is really hitting it. Like, there's nothing else to be said. Like Randy Horizon said, fiat is held up by trust of the people. There is no gold in Fort Knox. Then there it is right there. And then Inspiring Formula said, I guess Fort Knox stuff highlights how unauditable everything is compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is auditable 24/7. Every time block is mined, we know where all the Bitcoin is in every single address in the network. And then when you think about that, we need to go through all of this rigmarole, if I said that right, rigmarole.
You did.
And the human error and the human incentives to lie, cheat, and steal, and the custody. And it's like, we really are still caring about how much gold is in Fort Knox. I don't care. Gold is shiny. When y'all see my Bitcoin pendant, I bought it in 24. And the story behind that, I told my jeweler.
It's bigger than that. I'm sorry. You have to
say what?
It's bigger than that. Your Bitcoin, it's like this big.
It's not. I wish. But I told a jeweler. I told a gold guy. I said, hey, 2 year in 2022. I said Bitcoin's going up to $100,000 before it gets there. I want to have a gold pendant made. And it's like, all right, Bitcoin was like $22,000 at that point. I kept on going in every 6 months saying it's going up, right? So I was using that as almost like a way to orange pill him, if you will. And I think maybe he's receptive to Bitcoin now. But I bought a custom made gold pendant from him because of that whole 2-year relationship of just talking with him. But these people, they don't really like gold is here to be shiny. Gold is not a store of value. Gold is not going to save you from the money printing. It's not going to be able to save you from government coercion. We forget that part. We forget that governments are evil, and that whatever you think you own in a bad nation, if the nation goes sideways, you don't own shit. And so it's like, what can you actually claim as a bearer asset? That is really Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. That's it. And a gun. But guess what? That ends up becoming a zero-sum game. A gun in Bitcoin. Like, you really have to understand that gold has no value for what they claim it's supposed to be, which is when the alleged shit hits the fan. We have to be intellectually honest.
It's actually. Go ahead, Humble.
Oh no, I mean, I'm thinking about like, people getting riled up recently because Trump and a few other people were talking about auditing Fort Knox, right? Let's go in there. Let's see what's going on. And then people are like, oh, let's live stream it while it's actually happening. Well, then it fizzles away with all of this other news that's happening. And so that is I'm not saying this is happening intentionally because there's a lot going on. It's a new administration. But there's a lot of other stuff happening. So it's like, oh, well, that's just kind of like in the background now. Like, yeah, they mentioned it. And oh, yes, they're on our side because they want to audit it and they believe what we believe. Whereas with Bitcoin, you can just look. You can be like, there it is. I don't need to ask for permission to audit this. I can look. I can see this. And that is the difference. And that is what we like about Bitcoin. I mean, will we ever know if there's gold in Fort Knox? If they make it an issue, it'll be an issue, but then they can take that issue back just as easily as they present it and say, yeah, let's verify it because you guys all want to verify this. And it totally makes sense to verify it, but we're going to make you forget about it because look at everything else that's going on in the world. But it's always there. Bitcoin is always there. Run a node, you can see it's there.
The fact that you can audit it is going to matter more and more. And it's interesting because people like Elon, right? Whether people love him or hate him, he's kind of making that point, right? Through all of his shenanigans and stuff like that, he kind of is making that point. But I do want to go back to the point that you were making, Ulric, about gold, essentially, just being this, this shiny thing, and that there's a certain, price for it based on its utility. I've finished reading this book called Debt that I strongly suggest everybody read or listen to. It's absolutely fascinating, and it totally flips on its head. You know, for years we've grown up with the idea that our economy grew out of the barter system, and that is actually very far from the truth. Like, barter is actually just a convenient myth that we're told in order to justify the current state of affairs. The interesting thing is that it was kings who wanted to raise armies in order to take over other lands that would essentially pay people to be in their army with gold, right? Like, that's where the use of that as money, believe it or not, originated from. It didn't come from anywhere else, because going back, I don't even know how far, but essentially, money has actually been trust systems, even from like some of the oldest, right? Some of the oldest recorded tablets that were found were like ledgers, right? And those ledgers indicated that it was a tally, right, between two people, right, between checks and balances, and because it was trust. There was no actual money being exchanged. It was just a record of debts and credits. So it's very interesting, this kind of winding road that we've taken to end up here, and somehow the convenient myth of barter has helped to propagate essentially the myth of gold. So yeah, it's we're interesting as people and our stories, right? Like, stories really do shape our reality. So,
you know what's really funny?
true.
What I find interesting is the I interviewed Dominic Frisby, who was one of the early Robert Breedlove interviews. Like, he was literally right after Jeff Booth, and he wrote Daylight. He's a British guy, wrote Daylight Robbery. He's like a comedian / like Bitcoin / gold guy. And I asked him the question. About, like, what if the U.S. decided to sell some of the gold for Bitcoin, per Cynthia Loomis, her strategy. And it kind of caught him off guard, and I kind of thought it would, because you have these guys who are historic. He's probably 60, maybe late. I don't want to date him, but maybe he's in his mid 50s. And he has this like disposition, obviously, of gold. And it's like, oh no, you couldn't do that. I'm like, well, why? Well, because there's no gold in Fort Knox, and that would be, you just can't do that. I'm like, well, there's paper gold. Like, can't you sell that? And he's just no. It's like, there's I'm starting to feel like there's this generational blind spot. And I've never asked Lawrence this, because I know he's still involved he has a lot of fans that are gold bugs, but it's like, are any of these people who are gold affinity individuals, are they able to, they've seen Bitcoin change. They've seen Bitcoin change their minds. Are they able to fully move away from essentially what is a gold scam, a custodial scam, and into this truly self-custody, self-sovereign mechanism, this network that solves all the problems that gold promised, but much better in every way? And I don't think that any of them, even Lawrence, like, I don't think that any of them are willing to fully take that step. And maybe it's because of their fans. Maybe they don't want to alienate the people who follow them. I don't know, but it's just kind of weird. It's almost like this, like, it's not a blind spot, but it's almost like this is where there's a glitch in the matrix, and I just want to see one of them say, I was gold, but now I understand it's not worth anything than how shiny it is around your neck, but I don't think they're gonna. Maybe it's just a generational gap.
I think it is. I think it is the generational gap, in all honesty, to a certain extent, because I have no desire for that, and I don't have any of my friends that are like big wearers of gold. Like, I feel like it's like a very boomer thing, right?
And a cultural thing. The Asians, like,
yes,
the Filipinos, like, I know that I have
Indian.
coworkers.
I guess for me, it's because
as well. Yeah. Yeah.
North America, right? So it's like for me, I just automatically assume it's like a boomer thing, you know, like the gold and the furs and stuff like that. And it's like
they wear gold, like
yeah,
you know, but it's for a reason, because in the past, like they've had to flee, and then if they're wearing the gold, they have that value. So it's something where, you know, that made sense at the time, right? So I don't know. It'll take some time, but I think that it makes sense when it comes to Bitcoin to have well, if they can memorize their phrase, I guess. If you have to pick up and go, that's the best they had was gold bracelets, gold jewelry.
It's almost like, do you need to learn by, you know, my mom would say, like, you can learn by your own mistakes, by other people's mistakes, or by history. And it's like, you know, do you need to learn from your own mistakes, or by watching other people like in real time struggle, say, I don't want to go through that. And it's like, if people are like trying to drag their belongings across the border, as we see, like, you know, World War III or some horrible refugee moment, and it's like, that's a use case for Bitcoin. And it's like, gosh, you really don't want to, like, is it enough to just kind of talk that through and say, yeah, that makes rational sense? Like, do we really need to see the world burn for people to say, yeah, there's a reason to have that Bitcoin on that signing device? You know, it's like, it's kind of sad that people have to learn the hard way.
But it is a generational thing. I mean, have you guys seen, so Terrence, you know Terrence, right? Like
white Terrence or Asian Terrence?
Asian Terrence. Oh, no. Well,
white Terrence.
They're both.
No, there's truly Asian Terrence.
No, I know.
That's Asian Terrence. So you're talking about white Terrence who worked in Hollywood. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. All right.
You're talking about the guy that talks about real estate, right?
Real estate is a white Terrence.
Yes,
that's white Terrence.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe quarter Asian, but yeah, go ahead.
There's some Asian in it.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
you're confusing me.
There's anything wrong with that.
No.
I'm married to an Asian. So, anyways, so he had a really good, you know how he does. I love his videos. Where he's like on the one wheel and he captures my attention. I mentioned it earlier. Yeah, see, exactly. Both are Asian. You seriously don't know.
Literally white Terrence. I mean, Asian Terrence, also white Terrence.
What up? Okay. We're gonna have to have this conversation.
This misses the point.
All right.
This misses the point.
Anyways, you know what Terrence I'm talking. Okay, there's two
LA
R's
Bitcoiners.
in one.
LA Bitcoiners. Sorry.
There's two R's in one. There's only one R on the other, and I'm not sure which one it is. But you know what one I'm talking about. The one that does the one wheels, right? You know, yeah, Hollywood. So he did one about like digital gold and how you should not be talking to like millennials, right? And maybe some Gen Xers as well about comparing Bitcoin to digital gold. And that's true because people don't understand. Whereas boomers definitely understand. Like there's a reason they got into it, and silent generation, they understand. So I think that is a very I mean that point is well made. I mean, it's something that we do need to remember. It is a generational thing.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, millennials, we don't, I mean, except for certain cultural, you know, if you wear a gold chain or you watch rap videos or like inspiring formulas of when Bitcoin grills. But it's like most of the generic people who are like, yeah, I'm just walking through life. They don't see a need for gold. They want to buy Tesla stock. So what is Bitcoin to them? It's like, we're essentially living in this dystopia world where like money is just a construct of the government. And if the government tells you this is money, you say like, sir, yes, sir. And it's like, there were past generations that didn't think like that. And somehow this generation with all the, you know, the technology and the brainwashing with the public school system, we've sort of lost the plot with what does it mean to be a sovereign individual? So there has to be another narrative to describe what Bitcoin is, and whether it's a digital, you know, house or digital security. I don't know what the answer is, but you know, him on his one wheel, you know, doing his YouTube videos or shorts, hopefully he comes up with a better answer. But yeah, I agree. Digital gold, I've never used that really in my videos, and I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think it's going to answer.
Everybody says it because it's like, and I don't understand that.
Because because they're working. Look who they're talking to, and this is a problem with the Bitcoin Twitter group world. And I feel like I wish we talked about this more because Lynn Alden said something I wanted to talk about. We probably won't have time, but it's like, who's our audience? Who is Bitcoin Twitter's audience? Well, it's ourselves. And who are ourselves? It's a lot of people who've been paying attention to the world of finance, the world of getting wealthy without just working a 9 to 5. And so it's investing. And well, what are people investing in? Well, smart people are looking at commodities and assets, and gold is a part of it. So Bitcoin is digital gold because we're talking to ourselves. The problem is that if you really want to bring about hyper Bitcoinization, another thing my mom said, my mom's so wise, as I realized this growing older. I always did. I love my mom. My little brother's watching, I think. Shout out to my mother. She should be watching once in a while. But she says, when you serve the classes, you live with the masses. But when you serve the masses, you live with the classes. So for that matter, I think the problem with the Bitcoin narrative is that if you're really trying to sell it, if you're really trying to, all these Bitcoin salesmen out here, they need to come up with another way to say, how do we capture it in a way that would be for the non-investor? And I don't think these salesmen have figured it out yet. I don't care because I just want to stack and I'm going to make my little videos, whatever. But I think that there is a narrative gap that these people are missing because they're used to selling, these financial managers. Who do they sell to? They sell to rich people. But Bitcoin isn't going to go up if it's only in the hands of rich people. And that's, I think, people at Swan missed that plot. The people at River missed that plot. People at Coinbase missed that plot. Money is ubiquitous across society. It's not going anywhere when only wealthy people have it. Think about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting. I remember one of the things that when I first came into the space and we were talking in spaces and I was learning about Bitcoin, I said that I was passionate about getting the baby boomer generation and the silent generation to Bitcoin. And somebody who's actually from UK, he's like, I don't want the baby boomers to know about Bitcoin. I don't want them to have it. And I'm like, what? Like, what is wrong? Like they have the money, they have the wealth. And he was scorned, I mean, he's just like, no, they look at what they've done. I don't want them. I don't want to teach them about it. I'm not passionate about that. And then the longer I was in, I'm like, well, I understand where his perspective comes from. I'm not saying I agree with it or I don't agree with it, but I do understand that pain, right?
It's like the government. Like people don't want the government to have it. Well, it's an open system, so anyone can have it. If Hitler was, I don't want to say Hitler, but if the worst bad guy out there walking the face of the earth wanted to have access to Bitcoin, it's an open source on the internet. That's their ability. They have the ability to get it. Bitcoin's for your enemies, and Bitcoin's for the boomers. Bitcoin's for the government, and we have to realize that that's the only way it's going to win. What does that mean? It's going to change everyone. There's still going to be bad guys, but money printing, which is worldwide theft to all the people that aren't in the government class, that solves a really big problem. And, that makes all people value creators. And when we finally get rid of this fiat, the people who create value are the ones who rule the world. And I think that when you create value, that means you're doing something for someone that someone wants. That's so important. And we have to, this strategic Bitcoin reserve, it looks like it's slowing it down because now the government's just going to hide it behind closed doors. Well, guess what? Bitcoin is designed to be the greatest store of value. And it's designed to be the most protected and the most sure medium of exchange. That gets us really close to hyper Bitcoinization, however it looks.
Yeah.
I'm seeing I don't really know what Psycho 05 about Bitcoin meetups.
Where is it?
I'm trying to teach those close to me about it via Bitcoin meetups. Not many have come.
Oh yeah, the Bitcoin meetups. I think I saw that. That's kind of scrolled. I think that's further back.
Oh, he said yes, I pronounced it correctly. Yeah, that is tough. And There's.
Oh
there's
yeah, here we go. Max 1 to 3 members show up. Yeah, look, Bitcoin meetups. Oh, go on, Humble.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh,
You've been in
I,
longer than you've probably
I was just
here.
I was just gonna say from a few people that I know that run them, it's like it takes a while, right? Like it does take a while for it to get going. I mean, to a certain extent,
Like a YouTube
there's
channel.
a whole bunch of yeah, right. Like there's a, I mean, obviously it's debatable. There's different ways of growing, of course, as we know. But essentially, when it comes to these, especially the Bitcoin meetup spaces, like you're essentially having to turn cameras back on, off and back on again. But essentially, my camera just died. It's okay. It happens. It overheats. I don't know why. Right? Sony.
You're
Supposed to be amazing.
on that.
Fucking thing is
to-
turning off.
so quick. Oh my
Anyways.
gosh, that's great. Okay.
I'm surprised it
Sorry,
came
just
back
to-
because if
not to
my
drag on.
Sony overheated, it's done
Yeah.
for 10 minutes. Like I have to turn it off. Like,
Oh really?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Now mine will
and I
do
thought I
this
have
now
the
every
same-
3 minutes.
Similar to yours. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes it's weird. It's because like the screen is too close and it's reverberating heat. Anyways, to answer the person's question about the meetups, right? You're essentially trying to undo what people have learned their entire lives. Like every single person around you has learned the exact same thing their entire lives, and here you are talking to them about this thing called Bitcoin, right? So it's a very like, I mean. I get that you can spend a lot of time hammering into somebody what Bitcoin is, but in my experience, unless you meet them, and we've said this 1,000 times, unless you meet them at their level, the way that they want Bitcoin to be like kind of taught to them, they don't really want to hear it. So yeah, like I had to frame Bitcoin a certain way for, my dad. I had to frame Bitcoin a certain way for my cousin. Like, it's like Bitcoin is all those things, but it's just you have to focus on the specific aspect of the specific feature that gets that person. And unfortunately, the average person, with all of our brainwashing in the Western country, the easiest thing for anybody to understand is NGU. It's the easiest. So it's too bad.
Yeah.
East Side, man, you missed the whole episode. Now you show up at the end.
I want to give a shout out to my son. My son is actually watching, and
He's been watching for like a
cool. Shout
long
out.
time.
Yeah,
Mason in the house, bro.
I know.
He just
That's
asked,
awesome.
hey, Mason just asked, I'm buying $100 a month Bitcoin.
Yeah.
How am I doing,
enough.
Ulric? Really, what can I afford? I said, nothing really. You just got internet money.
It's okay. You're on your way. So look, I can tell you this, right? For the noobs that are just starting out in their Bitcoin journey, and I know it's totally different now with Bitcoin being at its fiat price where it's at. It seems like so unattainable. If any perspective, okay, Bitcoin, and I know they're gonna laugh, but Bitcoin at 3K and at 10K was the same difference to people like us that came in at the time that we did, or the time that I did. Like for me, that Bitcoin was extremely unattainable, and the road to getting to that Bitcoin was like I missed the boat. I was late, right? Like it's like a mantra. We sound like broken records. Anyways,
I'm actually going to do a video soon on essentially total addressable market. I don't know if it'll be the next one or the one after, but I think that needs a reminding, especially for people who are coming into the cycle kind of new, maybe post Trump's talking about Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin about? I know a coworker who started buying the day he got elected, and it was like in the middle of the pump from 60 to 90. So yeah, Ulrich, like I started buying at 80. It's like, that's good for you, man. That's good for you. So it's like there are a lot of new people who are here, not just for, to get the gains. It's like Trump likes Bitcoin, so I guess I'll see why he likes it. And so it's like, I think it's, something that Corey Clipson said. I'm a LA Bitcoiner, so I do some of their swan salons, and he does say some things that are good. I understand that there's pluses and minuses to his character, to his persona in the space, but he says that we need more Bitcoin podcasts, and what he means by that is there's going to be a lot of narratives that we heard in 2017 before I was here, 2021, 2020 when I got here, and And there's, and people got it then. But those people who got it have been here, been going on. 2022 comes around, 2023, there's new people, 24, there's new people. And they didn't hear that because the way the YouTube algorithm works, once someone says something in that video in 2019, it goes away. It's hidden in the
all those
algorithm.
narratives are gone.
They're gone. And some of them are good. Some of them are good.
Some of them are amazing.
The total addressable market, how many, I asked people, did you know that there's only 21 million Bitcoin? No, I didn't know there's 21 million. It's like they're investing in cryptocurrencies, not knowing that there's 21 million. It's hard cap, dude. Did you know that? And you know what that means? That means that as long as the money is, just the more fiat makes, the more Bitcoin is valuable according to that fiat. These kind of things, these simple things need to be rehearsed over and over again because there's new people in the space all the time. And so I'm going to do a total addressable market one. I'm going to talk about fine art, real estate, collectibles, fiat in general, and as it goes up and what that does to Bitcoin. And yeah, it seems old for the people that are probably watching now, but my coworker, Mason, who's, probably, got in after Humble, maybe he needs to hear that once or twice. It'll be good.
That's a good point.
Well, that and Gen Z, like the younger, like my youngest son, so Mason's younger brother, it's just, they are so, they're the ones that actually want to be finance bros. So they want to be finance bros. Well, Bitcoin is part of this now. Traditional finance is adopting Bitcoin.
Traditional for them, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they are interested in these things. That's like the number one thing they actually want to do as a career. So they don't want to be doctors. They don't want to be lawyers. This is what they want to do. So Bitcoin is part of this. And so really addressing this and saying, this is what Bitcoin is all about, and teaching them at the level that they can understand and they have interest. They want the world to change. They don't like it the way it is. They don't like the, all right, well, I can't get into politics too much, but they really don't want.
You could, but
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to say they don't like
a whole other show.
Yeah.
Hyper politicization. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They want to live their lives, and they want to have this life where they can have this balance, and they want to figure it out. And they're just like, no, this is what I want. We've observed everything and you guys are just messed up, So it's like, they want to learn about these things. So, yeah, I think we do need to, it may be redundant for people who already know, but Gen Z, I think Gen Z is the next Gen X for sure. If not
what's so good about Gen
X?
I'm hearing, what's so good about Gen X?
Yeah. Oh, shut up. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
What do you mean what's so good about Gen X? We're the fucking best.
Everybody knows it. Nobody wants to mess with us. Okay. That's it. For crying out loud. No, millennials, I will tell you this, Ulric.
I'm an old millennial.
We were our own parents.
Yeah, we were.
Okay.
No, and we're just bad.
You didn't grow up with your parents smoking like a chimney in the car. You didn't grow up.
Here I am.
You don't know what that's like. Okay. Nobody gave a shit.
Teach me. Teach me, guys.
No. Millennials.
Feel that disposition. Wow, it's so edgy.
No, I'm kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I'm telling you the truth about the shit that happened, but I'm just kidding. And
No, but think about this. I seriously do love this, because we had our baby boomer silent generation parents telling us that we had to work 80 to 100 hours a freaking week to make it in this world, right? And
only hard work.
I know, and you'll make it. You can start out in the mailroom
right in the mailroom, and now I'm president of the company.
Yeah. No, now you need to have a college degree and be in debt for the rest of your life.
Wait, hold on. And then BTC pins the latchkey generation. Okay, I guess y'all got me. What the hell is a latchkey?
Okay.
Oh, it's a chain around your neck with a key on it, literally, that you wore to school when you were in elementary school to get in the house because your parents weren't there.
Oh.
In elementary school.
We literally raised ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't know, we're serious when we talk about that. Right?
Yeah, I couldn't go.
I can't even do that. That's called abuse today.
I know.
Well, back then, that was fucking normal. Back then, if your parents didn't do that, right, then they...
Uh-oh.
Oh, we froze.
Just for a little.
Yeah, hopefully. That's not a good look.
Is it us who froze or him?
He froze. I think.
He didn't get.
Oh boy.
Oh.
You're good.
You're
now.
back.
Are we back? Did the government didn't like
You're
that?
back.
I guess
Someone's
the government
back.
didn't like that.
We were back, or you're back. Yeah.
Yeah. Even
I don't know. You
hardwiring-
guys, I lost all you guys, but I feel like the government took us out there.
Yeah, no, I didn't like what you were saying. It's that whole Gen X thing.
Yeah.
No, okay.
And I'm hardwired.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy because you were proactive in that.
Ridiculous.
No, it really was a chain around your neck with a key.
It
And
was.
we were like, I don't know, 7 years old coming back into the house because our parents weren't there. You can't do that anymore. It's not okay. It should have never been okay then, but we were
Today I learned.
we were strong. We were ballers, man. We like walked like 2 miles from the bus stop to get home when we were like 6 years old, man. You know, I don't know.
Just like the baby boomers who walked 15. So it's like it's a little deflation there.
It was uphill both ways though. Boomers walked uphill both ways.
Summertime,
right? No shoes, barefoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably no clothes. They were freezing.
Totally.
You know, it's horrible going to school naked like that.
There was some,
but then when they got to school, they were fully clothed. Fully clothed. They had shoes. Everything was fine.
I was just looking forward to 3D games as soon as they came. So it was like I was just waiting. I was just hodling until I got Battlefield or something.
Okay. What millennials did is y'all like balanced it out. You were just like, I'm not gonna work 40 hours a week or 60 hours, whatever it is you guys are doing for money that
they're not working 20 either.
No,
not all. Not Ulric though. Not all.
Doge.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That you guys called for a balance of life.
Just me.
You guys called for a balance of life that Gen Xers lost sight of because the baby boomer generation said this is what you need to do because they actually profited from it. Okay. But Gen Xers didn't really profit from it. Our life didn't get that much better. And we neglected our families. You know, we were just like, work is everything. And that meant the woman and the man. I mean, it was just like, no, you know, there was no balance whatsoever. Yeah. Millennials came along. You guys were just like, I don't want to live my life this way. It's not worth it. So, yeah, I mean, at first, Gen Xers didn't like it. We thought you were lazy. And that changed over time.
Yeah. Because we figured out that the money was broken. So, along with my camera. So we figured out that both of these things were broken together. And from that moment on, we were like, fuck this shit. You know, we were like, the millennials got it right.
Can't even see you.
Yeah. But it's okay, guys. It's okay. We're wrapping up. We're wrapping up here. That's it. We've come to the end of the St. Paddy's Day Pleb Underground special. And we thank all of our wonderful viewers and listeners for tuning in. Thank you guys for spending the hour and a half with us, just shooting the shit, talking about how Bitcoin is just eating the world, and us complaining about the parts we don't like about it eating the world, and us cheering for the parts we do like that it's eating the world. Anyways, before we go, either of you guys, anything you want to tell the viewers and listeners about before we jet?
Humble.
Oh gosh.
Humble first. Yeah, you're on the spot.
Boy, thanks for putting me first. Thanks for joining us. It was a lot of fun. It was a very nice evening together. Especially ending on that whole generational thing. That's a blast.
And unexpected too. It was fun.
I know. I mean, it's always good because it really does change, and I think it speaks to the fourth turning, which we should have an episode about that sometime, talking about the fourth turning, because it's very exciting, very interesting.
Maybe the next one. Maybe
Phil is present and he's not invisible.
I'm here. I swear I'm here.
We were talking about that earlier. Yeah. I don't really have much else. I heard a really cool St. Patrick's prayer before, like when I was taking my daughter home from school. I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, there is actually a prayer that he had for today. So it's kind of cool if you guys want to kind of figure out where this day actually stems from.
Well, I always like to know the history behind it. Go ahead, Ulric.
Yeah, for me, I think first of all, I think this was a great show, and as people are tuning out, I want to say that this live show is a great way to engage with the Pleb Underground fan base, with the audience. I love the fact that we were incorporating what you guys were saying in the chat in real time, talking with you as we are going about the show. We want to continue that relationship. We want to continue that dynamic. You guys are an important part of this. We could just do this with no one watching and talk about things that we want to talk about. And you guys derailed us, and guess what? We like that. So continue to add to this show. Continue to bring up good points. We're going to bring your comments up to the screen. We're going to engage the comments off screen. But this is a great format. We love having it. Make sure to catch my next video, which may be about total addressable market. A little bullish. I'm trying to stay bullish while we're doing this sideways crab. But I'm just happy to be a part of the Pleb Underground. Thankful for Humble and Phil. Thankful for you guys. See you next month.
I can't top that. I can't top that at all.
I'm
I
a
was going to do
Toastmaster.
Yeah, I really can't. But yeah, guys, essentially to the best of our abilities, the links that we discussed, everything about tonight are going to be in the show notes, of course. If you want to check us out, this is going to end up, it is going to be on Spotify, audio only. And also it is going to be on Fountain.fm. I was about to say Anchor.fm. It's there too, but that's Spotify, so it doesn't make a difference. So yeah, the audio only platforms, and it's of course on Apple Podcasts. And there goes my camera one last time for the end of the show. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, we will catch you on the next, maybe, I don't know, maybe we're going to start discussing doing these a little bit more often. I don't know, but either way, next month for sure we're doing one. So we will catch you then. Take it easy, guys. Peace.